Yo, what's going on, brothers? Thanks for tuning in to another dialogue with the raw, the real, and the red pill. Today I wanted to discuss the worthless vagina. We all know that every woman has a sexual market value that is high and quickly depreciates. Inconsiderable regulation to how she treats her body, how many men she has laid with, even with her behavior and conduct. It all does play a value within the overall value of herself, of her vagina. What made me think about this is just sitting back and observing, like I always do, you know? This is pretty much the situation that put this on my mind. As I'm out at work delivering, I've always been the kind of guy, when I would see a homeless individual, whether it be a man or a woman, I'll pity that individual. And I would do what I felt was right and help. Whether it be, a couple of dollars here and there, a couple of Newports, cold Gatorade on a hot summer day from the store that they might be sitting out in front of begging for change. I don't attend any religious functions or churches, for I'm not a religious man. I'm cultured, but not religious. For I do not observe many of the paganism involved in religion of this day. But being that I don't go to the churches, I do believe in tithing, and in my own personal perspective, giving to the poor, those who are lowly in life, is in fact my form of tithing. I try to always help out when I can, especially amongst our own people. I was out delivering, just to get back on topic, and starting to have a change of heart. I was out delivering and I saw an elderly woman, homeless, lowly, stinky, dirty, lowly, a homely woman, homeless. She asked me for help, about a couple dollars that I could spare. And I had an epiphany. I did. What if this woman is experiencing the wall? What if she's facing the harsh reality of the worthlessness of her vagina, of her sexuality? Her sexuality has diminished in value. Nobody wants it anymore. What if in her youth she came across a few good guys, fucked them over, used and abused them? Who's to know, she might have had a child or two. Had her victim on child support for 18 years. Child support was paid up. No more residual income for her. Who's to say this isn't her just desserts or her karma for the lowliness that she might have put another man through? Now, when I see a homeless man, these days I tend to wonder if a woman put him there. Yes, I said it. If a woman had put him there, and given in the current bias of the judicial system and the favoritism shown towards women and what women at large are doing, because we go back to the statistics, but I'm talking about African Americans, the Negroes, the Hebrews, yes, Jacob, the dysfunctional nation of people. 70% of black women divorce. They initiate the divorce. Maybe I should rephrase that. 70% of African American marriages end in divorce within 10 years, initiated by the woman. Statistics. So that's not the only one. So it's safe to say that a lot of these brothers we see that are on the corners with the cup out. A lot of these brothers we see strung out on drugs. A lot of these brothers we see who have lost their damn mind, talking to themselves, fighting the air. I've seen it. The guy sleeping on the street with a pizza box, waking up to eat a slice of his 2-day-old pizza. He's stretching out because he knows not from which his next meal comes. Could it be that he is in that situation because of a woman? I consider it much these days because, you checked out my other video. A family destroyed, or father destroyed, family separated, that video. You know that I've seen something similar of the sort firsthand in my own father. So my heart pours out to the brother. Always. Brotherhood. We gotta learn to love one another. Treat your neighbor as you would treat your neighbor as you would treat yourself. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. The reality is that a lot of us don't love ourselves. So we don't love the replication of the image of the Creator that we see in our brothers. You understand? When you look at a brother, essentially, you are looking at a reflection of yourself. All for one for all. There's a point of individualism. But we got to get out of that way of thinking. Now, to flip the script on the other hand, we look at the 70-year-old woman, homeless, usually in some old, dirty, raggedy, provocative clothing. She's probably out here doing something strange for a little bit of change. And when she has hit that point of desperation because that sexuality of hers has become worthless. I try to ponder, what has she done in her life to end up in this situation? We all should ponder on these things. I'm at the point now where I tell them I don't have anything. I don't even carry, I try not to carry cash. Sometimes at times I have felt doubtful if that was the right thing to do. But within my spirit, I'm convicted that this is surely a position that this person deserves to be in. Due to the state that our women are in here in America. We know that they have not been the most tried and true within the last 40 years. Let's say 50. They've actually been quite treacherous. When I see a woman, a homeless woman, a lowly woman, who asks me for help, these days I tend to think, where is your husband? For she is not a virgin. Due to the overlap of her stomach, we can tell she had quite a few kids in her life. How did you get in this situation? We must start putting things together, 2 and 2, Connect the dots. Look at everything from a raw perspective. As men, we have the ability to do that. It's called cognitive thinking. We can put 2 and 2 together. We can look at the outcome of something and then we can piece together or maybe how that outcome might have happened. People actually have careers of this type of thinking. Crime scene investigators. You have a car accident, let's say it's fatal, and there's insurance debacles involved. They get people out there to look at the tread marks on the ground to see at what speed, due to the length of the tread marks on the ground that car could have been traveling to strike the other car. Who was at fault? Investigations. So we must mentally keep this attitude towards everything we see. Especially, unfortunately, our own women. I recall a time when, not even one time, numerous times, and this is what started to cold in my heart a little bit. I got a little bit cold because of this, man. You know, older woman, between the age of 45 and 65. Hey, baby. Hey, sugar. You know, they gotta flatter you a little bit, you know. It's quite repulsive, actually, because, quite frankly, as Dave Chappelle would say, those days are over. Yeah. You gotta be the fucking simp of the century to consider what standards could one have. You know what I mean? What standards could one truly have to consider the sexuality of a woman of that lowliness, that lowly woman, to consider her sexuality to come to a determination to help her? Because surely it can't be from the goodness of your heart. Just to flatter you up a little bit, let you know that you have a shot at that old, stinky, unwashed, impoverished pussy that's probably infected with disease. Many times I have been working and I saw, a woman will come up while I'm delivering to a store or something. Excuse me, sir, anything will help. You know, how you doing, sugar? Anything would help. You know, whatever you can do. You know, not give them $1, maybe $2. Or hey, all the change I have in my pocket might equate to the same amount. Well, do you have another $1? Or can I get a cigarette too? Or they get an inch and then they want the mile. You understand what I'm saying? Where's the character? Where's the integrity? Where's the dignity? Where's the morality? Because all I see is usury. You understand? Could this be the reason that this person could be in the situation that they are in? I come to realize that amongst our people there are wheats and there are tares. We cannot stand up for the whole nation of our people. Yes, I'm talking about black people, African American so-called people. But surely, if we go into the scriptures, as I often refer to, many of our people were instantaneously cut off, given to the sword of our own people. For what? Why? Why was he judging so? To keep the land pure and to obliterate wickedness. Because the spirit of the Creator was with our people. This is how we won wars. This is how we became great and mighty. When our identity was known amongst ourselves. When our forefathers would sacrifice that livestock, that prepared livestock, and fire from heaven, from the sky, the spirit of the Creator himself would burn the sacrifice on the altar. Back in those days, even our own people were cut off by the sword. Moses, David, Joshua. Moses has to be one of my favorite characters. Ezekiel. You understand? And it was a righteous thing. So we must carry the same attitude that many of our own people, and in my opinion, according to the scriptures, two-thirds of our people ain't gonna make it. So, oh man, this is a hard stretch to even include women. I think it might be like 2/3 2/3 might be too generous for them here in America, because they're gone. They're gone. So every time I see a homeless woman, I tend to be desensitized these days to that. It doesn't bother me as much as say I don't have anything for you. I'm sorry. It doesn't bother me. It does nothing. And I keep going about my day. Because the fuckery has been too great. The pride and the arrogancy has been too great from this woman. Women in general in America. It's the culture. It's the program here. They don't need no man until they need a man. Which is what they always needed. There's no reason why any woman, lest she is a widow, should be elderly, homeless, on the streets. Because surely, indeed, in my eyes, it appears to be as though it is a curse from the Creator himself. As I said earlier, giving just desserts and fulfilling what we call karma, but is, in all actuality, full righteous judgments and full circle recompense of actions that we're taking in an individual's life. For surely, all things work itself out in the proper end. So, that's pretty much my rant. You know, I'm going to say a little bit something else. I just left the gas station. And there was a younger girl in there. Pretty girl. Decent looking woman. She was a nice ass away from a dime. She had it all going on. So she turned around. He was like, yeah, it's average. She was a nice looking girl. She was drawing a lot of attention to herself, as most black American women do. Attention whore. Making her presence obviously known. Young girl, maybe 19, 20. That would have been my guess. I looked at her, and I looked at her shirts. On her shirt said Ho. H-O. You got to be fucking kidding me. I can look at some of these females, observe them for maybe a minute or two, and use my cognitive thinking to categorize this individual and somewhat predict their future lest they change their ways and come into the truth and humble themselves and go back into their purpose. I can tell you, just like a father when he disciplines his son or his daughter, whenever a father is allowed to do such a thing in these days and times in Babylon, America. The father disciplines his child because he foresees what's coming. He foresees. He sees it down the road. He wants to save them from that destruction. This foreseeing, this ability of cognitive thinking and wisdom is not within the woman. It's not within her. She's reactive. She reacts to situations. She reacts to changes. While men are preventative. They try to prevent things from happening. They try to keep, they're proactive, preventative. Try to keep things from going wrong. Like, how many times have we seen a woman with a brand new car, right? Maybe not brand new, but car that's not too old. Let's say it's 2018. Let's say this is like a 2015 or 2016 vehicle. How many times have we seen a woman with engine problems, riding around in a factory oil? All she knows is put gas in it, turn the key, step on the gas, step on the brakes. For all eternity, this car should operate in this function. But when that engine blows, She'd have to dig in her pockets or find another way. You understand? As most men, now there are exceptions. There's some women out here who know about maintenance. They'll go to Jiffy Lube, twice a year and get things done. Yeah, I get it. I'm talking about generally. And they do that because they was told to. They don't understand the mechanics of a vehicle. They don't understand, honestly, you gotta keep it real here. Generally speaking. But you take a man, he knows to check that oil after 3-4 months have gone by of daily driving. You know what I mean? Preventative. Because he knows if he doesn't, and it's hot outside, and it's been hot these last 3 months per se, and, he's been driving that car hard, it could be burning oil. Oil levels could be getting low. Maybe he can add a quart or two until he can conjure up the money for an oil change. Proactive thinking. Men do the same thing with their children. When it comes to being the disciplinarian of the house, and when it comes to the words in which he speaks into his children that they should attain to, words of wisdom, words of insight, to prevent what we see out here on these street corners, day to day, to prevent that 50 to 60-year-old homeless woman begging for change, who 20 to 30 years earlier may have been that same feminist who had a man on child support, alimony, who might have been the same whore walking around with a shirt that said H-O on it. Ho. Advertising that sexuality. What does she do when her sexuality no longer is in consideration? For as a man gets older, he develops more. He gains more wisdom. A man in his true identity, of course. A man in his true identity, because there's a lot of men who don't understand what that means for them. How to differentiate themselves from the woman. You understand? It was never embedded in them because more than likely they was raised by a woman. So they reach a place of being stagnant in their life. They can't seem to grab the next ladder rung and climb up to newer heights. They never seem to have the need to learn more, be more, to progress in thinking, in spirituality, in perceptions, in creation, embracing the full meaning of being a man. What would that woman do when that wall hits her and men no longer pity her because of her sisterhood that she stands with in secret but openly stood with through her actions throughout the days of her youth when her sexual market value was high? This same thing I'm asking you now concerning the homeless woman. And let me get this straight. There are some women out there who might have, things happen. Maybe is a widow and, don't have any family up here and, things happen. But we got to be real here and look at the other side of the coin. You got to look at the other side and look at probability due to the climate of today's matriarch, gynocentric society. More than likely, she fits the mold and played a role and a purpose within that society. Because if not, she would have a husband who would be her covering. That she would not have to go through her later years and struggle. Because never did she consider that maybe one day she wouldn't be sexy anymore. You understand? Maybe, it's crazy, man. What will she do? We gotta ask this question. I'm gonna wrap it up here. I'm ranting a little bit. We're gonna have to ask this question as the HUD cuts come, the Section 8 cuts come, As this EBT SNAP benefits cuts come, as this woman continues to lose resources, and begins to realize that having a man is the biggest resource that she could ever have. Not his resources, primarily, no. Just having a man, a covering. For a woman surely was never, ever created to be unled. She was always supposed to be under the covering of a man. We have to understand this. If we go back to the scriptures, a virgin, a maid, a daughter of Zion, under traditions, will be under the household of her father until the father gives her off into marriage. You understand? Now let's say something didn't work out, or hey, she was put away because she was unsatisfactory to her husband in her servitude. She would have to return back to the household of her father. If she was a widow, she is to be remarried to the brother of the deceased, or return back home to her father. There's a reason for this. So wickedness does not abound in the land, because women do not have a pure conception of truth and lies and right and wrong. With them, it is personal perception which molds their reality, which is la la land. And that's what they know. For example, you have a stripper. Fucking Cardi B. Yeah, let's see. I tell my woman, I tell all women, that bitch is a hoe. Why y'all glorifying the allies in the hoe? Oh, but she got her degree though. She stripped to pay for college. Okay, but that is not moral. That is an ill-gotten gain due to the immorality of the game. You understand? The immoral nature of gaining. That's like me saying, oh, well, you know, I'm a millionaire, but I sold a lot of drugs and a lot of people overdosed and died due to my processes of getting my money. There's no glory in that. There's no integrity in that. But the woman does not think like that. She does not know integrity. She does not know glory. So, towards the judgment does come. You understand? In full circle. And that's where you get the old bitter. Oh, God, you can smell them. Oh, man, they just glance at you. They just look at you. And you just know what the score is with them. That's just kind of funny. I look at them like, man, but they're irritating though too, man. You know, the older, bitter woman, unhappy, unfulfilled woman who believed in feminism and believed this bullshit until she found herself alone in a lowly state, unfulfilled in life, in her 50s and 60s. And she hates you, young brother, young man, young buck. She hates you because she knows that you have potential. She knows that you can achieve. She knows that despite the system, you're still being created. You're still waking up. You're still coming into this world. That abortion didn't work. That feminism is not working all the way. She's even more upset that you won't simp for her. That you would rather go for the 19, 20-year-old young lady. Inexperienced, trainable, fresh, clean, young woman. That's a stretch here in America at that age. By then, they might have had a couple dicks up in them. Might have been behind the bushes a couple times, you know? But just per se, in comparison to her, who's had a family already, been married 2 or 3 times. One or two of her exes are deceased. Probably had a heart attack or stroke or something health related due to the stresses that she brought onto that man. And then another man, one of the other husbands might have been just utilitarians and resources for her all her life. And now, what is the worth of that vagina? What would she do? We got to think about this. We got to keep our hearts away from the simpery and the soft-heartedness towards women in general, because it's hardwired within us. We got to understand, women have roles, and they haven't been playing these roles. Therefore, they are not our women, man. They just not. They not. They are the woman of the system. So allow the system to recompense them in fullness. Allow the strong outreached arm of the Father to smack the shit out of her with life. That she may learn, that she may be humbled down. But that's all I'm going to say. Thank you for tuning into The Raw, The Real, The Red Pill. And y'all be easy now.